Hi, my name is John Purcell, founder of the Peace of Justice organization and the Father's Care movement. It's been quite a while since I posted a video. I became preoccupied with some things at work. I had to get a certification out of the way I had to study for, but after I got that behind me, now that I have that behind me, I can put some more energy into the Peace of Justice organization and the Father's Care movement. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk about, I'm going to start, this is the beginning of a series of videos that I'm going to post talking about the law. So I believe that if we want to, if we're going to approach these lawmakers telling them, what law we want to change or what laws we want to change, we need to be very specific about those laws. We need to know exactly what those laws currently state and then what we want to change them to. Generally speaking, we know what we want changed. We want fathers to have equal rights. We want fathers to have equal rights. We want the whole idea of the laws, or not idea, the whole reality of the laws being bent or tilted in the mother's favor. We want that corrected to where it's equal rights between the mother and the father of the child. So to do that, again, we are approaching the lawmakers demanding change, but we need to be very specific about what we want changed. So I'm going to put together a series of videos talking about the law itself. Now the law is very complex, there are many layers to it, so I'm only going to take one law at a time. One law at a time, we're going to talk about it, try to keep the videos short so that we have time to, have some time to digest it, think about it, comment on it, let people, share their different perspectives on it so we can have together, gain a deeper understanding of what the law is actually saying. So, I took it upon myself to buy the law book that contains Title 19 of the Georgia Code, which covers domestic relations, family law. This is the book. Now, this particular volume has volume 16, has titles 18 and 19 in it. Title 18 has to do with, I think, death. What's Title 18? Title 18 has to do with debtor and creditor, okay? And that covers the first 254 pages of this book, about that much. The rest of this book is family law. Now to me, this right here is part of the problem. This is way too complicated. This is from page 255 all the way to about page 1500. This book's about 1500 pages, 1400 something to be exact. I guess if I'm going to say exact, I got to say the exact page, but let's just say 1400 something pages, 1400 some odd pages. Covers family law in Georgia. That's way too complicated, and I believe that's part of the problem. We need to simplify it. Now the first 330 pages of Title 19, the first 330 pages, well no, not the first 330 pages, pages 250 to 330, pages 250 to 330, so not even 100 pages, has to do with marriage, getting into marriage, very easy, less than 100 pages, very easy to get into marriage. Starting on page 331, the rest of this book, the majority of it, talks about what comes if your marriage doesn't work. What happens if your marriage doesn't work? If you have to get out of marriage. It covers things like, divorce, annulment of marriage, alimony and child support, parent and child relationship, child custody proceedings, adoption. Adoption is not necessarily going to happen after, it's not necessarily something that you have to deal with after a divorce, but it's possible. Enforcement and duty of child support, name change, those things. That's what's covered in, the rest of this book. Those are some of the things covered in the rest of this book. Getting out of the situation, getting out of the marriage, or what comes after the marriage, or what comes after a failed relationship with someone that you had a child with. Over 1,000 pages. So, but we're just going to deal with one law tonight. We're going to deal with the law that speaks to the overall generalization that the laws are bent in the mother's favor. Now, a lot of times when sometimes the counter argument to that, or when that issue is raised, I've heard people say, no, the laws are not bent in the mother's favor. We all know they are, but I've heard people actually make the argument, no, the laws are not bent in the mother's favor. Yes, fathers do have rights. Well, to that, I would say, I would take them to page 697 of this book. I would take them to page 697 of this book, which is Georgia Code 19-7-25. And it says, in whom parental power over child born out of wedlock lies. In whom parental power over child born out of wedlock lies. And what it says is, I'm going to paraphrase and I'm going to read it. So what it essentially says is that for a child born out of wedlock, only the biological mother has full legal rights from the start. The biological father has 0 rights. That's right, 0 rights from the start. So what it says specifically though is only the mother of a child born out of wedlock is entitled to custody of the child, unless the father legitimates the child as provided in Code Section 19-7-22. Otherwise, the mother may exercise all parental power over the child. Again, otherwise, the mother may exercise all parental power over the child. So, for the mother, just being the biological mother of that child is enough to give that mother legal rights over that child. But that is not enough for the father, for the biological father. Simply being the biological father, I say simply, I shouldn't phrase it that way. That's part of the problem. It's been beaten into our heads, even though I know better, but things like that are words are powerful. Things like that are harmful to say. When you say simply the biological father, we shouldn't simplify it like that. We have to change how we speak about fathers. But anyway, being the biological father of the child is not enough to give you full legal rights over your child. Now, if we go to the definitions in this section, well, it's in actually section 19-8-1. It breaks down the definitions of a biological father and a legal father. So, a biological father, it says, a biological father means the male who impregnated the biological mother, resulting in the birth of the child. That is the biological father, according to the law. That is the biological father. Then you have the legal father. It says the legal father means a male who has not surrendered or had terminated his rights to a child, and, that means in addition to, and who either A, has legally adopted the child, B, was married to the biological mother, C, is married to the biological mother, or D, has gone through the legitimation process. And I have another video on that, on the legitimation process. And then it has the definition of the legal mother. The definition of the legal mother. It says legal mother means the female who is the biological or adoptive mother of the child and who has not surrendered or had terminated her rights to the child. Now, in this section, there is no definition of the biological mother because according to the law, the biological mother and the legal mother are one and the same. The only definition in here pertaining to the mother is legal mother. And again, it says it means the female who is the biological or adoptive mother of the child and who has not surrendered or had terminated her rights to the child. So, this is one of the laws that we want changed. We want, number one, in section 19-7-25, where it says only the mother of a child born out of wedlock has full rights to the child, full legal rights to the child. We want that changed to read such that both the biological mother and the biological father from the start have full legal rights to the child. And when it comes to the definitions, we want the definitions for the legal mother and the legal father to mirror each other. Where, it says the legal mother means the female who is the biological or adoptive mother of the child and who has not surrendered or had terminated rights to the child. So we want the same for the legal father. We want to say Legal father means the male who is the biological or adoptive father of the child and who has not surrendered or had terminated his rights to the child. That will make it equal. Right now it's unequal. And it's an equal rights issue, and it is discrimination. Discrimination based on two things. Discrimination based on gender, and discrimination based on marital status. Because for a mother, being the biological mother of the child is enough to give her legal rights. But for a father, it's not enough. Being a biological father is not enough to give that father legal rights to the child. And then when it comes to discrimination based on marital status, a married father who has a child with the biological mother, who's married to the biological mother, has full legal rights to that child when that child is born. Whereas a single father who's not married to the mother has zero rights. Now get this. Let's say you're married and your wife cheats on you, gets pregnant by another man. When that baby is born, because you were married to her when she conceived that child and when that child was born, you are the legal father to that child. You have all the legal rights to that child as a father, as opposed to the biological father that she cheated with has zero legal rights. So in the state of Georgia and many other states around the nation, a marriage certificate outweighs DNA. And a marriage certificate outweighs science. A marriage certificate outweighs a birth certificate. Let's say, you're the father of the child. You know you're the father of the child. You're not married though, but you have no doubt it's your child. You don't even want a DNA test. The child comes out. You sign the birth certificate. Hey, I'm the father. That is not enough to give you legal rights to that child. That is not enough. A birth certificate doesn't mean much. A marriage certificate does, but a birth certificate does not. So that's what we want changed. That would make it equal. That would take away the discriminatory aspect of the laws as they are currently written. So I'm going to leave it right there for tonight. That's just one law we talked about. This is why I'm breaking it down just one law at a time. I can literally talk about this stuff all day long. So because it has many layers to it and I'm passionate about it, but I'm just going to break it down to just one law at a time for each video, and we'll talk about how one law references the other. We'll tie all those things together in future conversations. But anyway, again, that's it for tonight. I'm John Purcell, the founder of the Peace of Justice Organization and the Father's Care Movement. You can reach me via email, jpurcell@peaceofjustice.org. You can reach me right here on YouTube. You can put comments below. Tell me what you think about the law we discussed tonight. Tell me your perspective on it. You can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Facebook. Also, my website, peaceofjustice.org, PEACE ofjustice.org. John Purcell, Father's Care Movement. Let's keep moving.